down in Bentonville earlier this year, and I was very struck. I interview a lot of CEOs, and it was certainly an interview that had a big impact on me, so I'm glad we all get to hear from her today. I mean, as you know, everyone knows Sam's Club, but this is a woman who runs a $57.2 billion business, 640 stores in the United States, twice as big as Macy's, 8th biggest retailer. No pressure, it's a lot of work.
None whatsoever.
She actually has a packed day, obviously, ahead today after this. But I wanted to begin with this. The day you were named CEO of Sam's Club, you told me that you didn't realize what a big deal it was until you saw it across the CNN ticker. Really?
That is the absolute truth. I was sitting in a room, sort of segregated off as they were making the announcements, and the TV screen was on, and my name started coming across, and I was thinking, what is going on? You know, I hadn't even phoned my family in Michigan or anything, and it's just blasting everywhere. And you know, Poppy, when you're in the thick of things every day and things are kind of growing, and you know, many people will tell you they didn't really know who I was because I've actually been really, really working these, times in my career.
Not seeking the spotlight.
No, and so when I started to see all this come, to surface, it was, it shook me for a minute because it made me realize that it was a significant moment in time. Mm-hmm. I needed to take a deep breath, which I am not in the habit of doing. But it made me take pause, and I've learned something from that I need to pause and breathe a little bit more.
Take it in.
Take it in.
Roz is also the first woman and the first African American to run a division, to be a CEO of a division of Walmart. And given...
Thank you. Thank you.
I was very struck last night hearing from Melody Hobson, as I think we all were.
Yes.
And about stopping apologizing for being a black woman. So given your unique role at Walmart, given the history you've made, what are your thoughts on that and your reaction to what you heard from her?
You know, I really loved her comment last night because it made me think about that in my own self and how I feel about that when I walk into a boardroom. It is a reality. There are still so many inequities in the workplace, and I see it every day. And I hate to mention this, but I think about things like the Ferguson situation, and I think about how that, inequities are happening everywhere, and they're happening still in companies. And it is interesting that still when I walk into environments that don't know who I am, I still have to describe what I do, and then people are still in disbelief and shock until I begin to engage in the conversation. And so it does exist, but I don't apologize for it. First and foremost, I love being a woman. I never have emulated a male at any point in my career. I love it, love it, love it. And then I always talk about my race, and I talk about my HBCU education at Spelman College. I talk about that everywhere. And actually, all the work I do is at Spelman College, and it is a college designed for African American women. And so I talk about that, I live it, I breathe it. I want to see more women do that. Feel good about who you are, talk about it, and lead in that light every day.
One of the things that you told me is you want to see more women get close to the money. And that is critical because you've said that many people have asked, as you just described, what is she made of? How did she get here?
Yes. I get that question a lot, and I get tested every day. And, I still sit I'll hear, my white male peer say the same thing that I just said in maybe a different way, and like was described in one of the breakfast roundtables, maybe pound his fist. Now, I will admit, I'm not a fist pounder, but when I do speak, I use the data, I make sure I'm pointed in what I say, and I try and get all the results I possibly can. So I think that, I want to see more women run profit and loss statements. I think it's wonderful to have us spread throughout the corporation and work in support functions, but I am telling you, the closer you can get to the customer of your business, the money and how it's managed in the company, you are at the decision-making table, you can ask the questions, and you can demand the answers. And so it gets you a chance to say, let me see the salary plan for the year, and let me see the distribution of diversity across those numbers. And asking the question alone allows you to make change happen. And so you can only do that in certain roles, and I want women to step up, feel confident that they can do it, know that they can do it, know that they can be counted on, and that, I sit next to a lot of men that don't really have a lot of the things that women have, because we have challenged ourselves to be twice as good every day. And I want women to feel like they've got it and the confidence to do it.
Twice as good. I like
Yes.
that. I want you to tell everyone here the story you told me in our interview about the difference between a male boss you had and a female boss, because it's surprising.
Yes, it is.
When you were pregnant and had young children.
Yeah, so I have 2 children, and difficult pregnancies in both of those. And my first pregnancy, I worked for a woman, and she was hard-charging, male demeanor. And when I came to the office and told her that I was expecting, she was hot. I mean, she was not happy about that at all. And at the time, we were, physically working very hard and traveling a lot, and felt tons of pressure to deliver, and probably worked a little harder than I should have. My second child, born 8 years later, had a male boss, and 20 minutes after I delivered, and I looked just like Hagatha in the delivery room, he is down the hallway delivering a gift to me personally, when, could have had any florist, anybody drop something off. But I delivered about 20 minutes away from the office, and so he just got in his car. He went to a jeweler, bought a gift for me, and brought it to me and my daughter. And I'm still there, just, really just coming out of recovery, and they're saying, "Your boss is down the hall." I'm like, "You must be kidding me." I was like, "Where's my lip gloss?" I'm like, what can I do? Robert's here. I'm like, but it was such a dramatic difference. I mean, and he's been someone that has stayed in my life throughout just because of that experience. We've remained friends, and I see him to this day. And it really should impress upon all of us is that you have to support each other. I could have had a totally different outcome, a totally different long-term relationship with this woman if we had a different start at that very critical moment. And, it was surprising because she was a mother of 2 at the same time.
Yeah, well, you had said that she didn't have work-life balance and therefore really
She
didn't want you to, whereas the male boss, they opened a home office for you.
Absolutely. So the difficulty in my pregnancy, they set up my bedroom at home with phone service and everything that I needed right in my bedroom on my second delivery, just to accommodate me because I was on bed rest. And so very understanding. And, it's interesting because I think I still know this woman, and I think she's come full circle now. But it takes those kinds of things to make a difference in our lives.
I want to talk about the business. I had a chance to see Sam's Club and some of the innovations that they're making down in Bentonville. And, we were just talking backstage about how Howard Schultz of Starbucks, for example, has said to me, look, we are seeing a seismic change in consumer behavior. Stores across the board, no matter what you sell, are seeing less traffic because we are buying more online. You are having to respond to that. And your answers are multiple. What are you doing to get the millennials in that you desperately want and need? And also tell them about, the different approaches, the order and pick up, those sorts of things.
So Sam's is in a great transformation right now. And so our business, the $57.2 billion that you see today, is predominantly provided to us by a boomer consumer base. And so we need to shift that to a millennial base, to create our long-term growth. Many things that we're doing in that way. We're engaging our member in such a dramatically different way. We're talking to them on a one-to-one basis. We're getting to know them as they spend with us. We're actually trying to transact our access points in a much different way. You can order online and pick up in club, and that's something that we introduced for this holiday season, because I can tell you from last year's holiday season to this holiday season, we could not have predicted the way the consumer was going to react from a mobile standpoint. We updated our mobile app probably 3 times just going into the holiday, saying not good enough, got to get better, not good enough, all the way up to the 11th hour to make sure that our mobile app was able to really perform for us. And we saw 10% of the folks that were on the floor shopping were also buying online while they were in the club. And we still see that there is the need for people to have that anxiety, come out and shop, and get that anxiousness out there, and the compulsivity that you have when you shop inside a building. So we're seeing that. But for us, the transformation is trying to create new access points. We're doing some work that is new to the world in the Warehouse Club channel, setting up some digital sites, going into geographies that might not ever even have a building. And that's so different for a model like Sam's Club.
Yeah.
But it is responding to how the millennials want to shop. We're letting them tell us how they want to access
You
goods
have
for
to.
us. We have to.
You have to. Silicon Valley, you have spent an enormous amount of time, especially recently in Silicon Valley. You just made 4 big hires there, and a lot of people would say, why do you need to do that for your business as we know it? But is it because your business is not as we know it?
That's exactly right. We're learning so much more about our business. So about a year ago, we added to the Sam's business a samsclub.com CEO. And a gentleman joined us by the name of Jamie Iannone. He's background in internet and e-commerce. And then we're building a large structure for him in the San Bruno area. So not in our Bentonville offices. And up under him, we've brought in 3 to 4 new senior VPs. We've got a couple of more additions that we're going to be adding there. But their background is in digital marketing. Their background is in category development for online purchases. And so, we really enjoy our traditional merchandising and operating teams that we have in Bentonville, Arkansas, but we saw that we needed rapid movement and technology enhancements that we couldn't get from our mainstream talent base. And so this is adding a whole new dimension. We would not have been ready for this e-commerce kind of week that we just had. And our cyber week that we're in right now would not come off if we did not add those folks a year ago. So we're pretty excited about it. Lots of engineers, much different background than what we've had before in our business.
Kids become engineers. That's what.
Yes.
That's the message these days. Quickly before we get to, I want to have time for 1 or 2 questions. You mentor a really phenomenal woman from all accounts that I've read about her, Tracy Lloyd, a veteran Walmart exec, was actually on the cover of Fortune in 2010. But what's interesting about your mentoring relationship is you told me that you found that millennials want more than just work advice. They want life personal.
So Tracy and I became mentor-mentee partners quite some time ago, really it's close to the time when she joined the company. Many of you all know that we have been really making a large push to bring veterans into our company, and she was one of those. She came in and ran one of our super centers for us in Florida and worked in my region when I was on the super center side, when I was on the store side, and did a phenomenal job. But our relationship really expanded into talking about her personal life. She really wanted to understand, well, how do I add kids and how do I grow? So I just gave her the formula. I was like, look, at your age, have the kids early. Take a position in our home office so that you can see the breadth of what this company does and build strong partnerships and relationships. And she was just recently promoted and sent back out. She had the 2 children, like we described, and now she's back out. She's one of these drivers, and that's one of the things I'm learning about, as I get the opportunity to really engage with the millennial base, is that it's important to them to plan and manage. And I didn't do all that planning. It just kind of fell into place. But for Tracy, she's been a great model of what could be. And so now she's back out. She is a market manager in our new neighborhood market concept and is really doing a nice job. And we talk every day. Very close relationship.
I'm getting told we have to wrap. My final question to you, Roz. Will we see Roz Brewer one day as the CEO of Walmart?
Poppy does this to me every time. I am enjoying this company so much, and if they ever ask me to step up, I'd be more than happy to.
I think we just might. Roz Brewer, thank you very much.
Thank you.